Welcome to Trapping Ain't Dead, another day, another dollar peep game. It's your boy Munch.
Munch.
What's good, Janae?
First of all, Munchy Poo. Had to say it. I had to say it because, first of all, I feel like this energy is too low for me, Munch.
What you talking about?
I could barely hear you, and you're literally like, I could touch your elbow. Like, we're just this close at this table. We're a few inches away from each other.
I ain't know I had to yell.
You ain't gotta yell, but I'm like, you got this sexy bedtime voice going on.
Nah.
I don't know who. That's for Bae. You practicing for Bae later?
Nah.
But you going like aggressive? I'm tripping, y'all.
You wild.
Tell the people where we at tonight.
iKrave restaurant, kicking it with Cedric McMinn. You know. Cedric Dawkins over here chilling.
All the Cedrics are in the building
all
tonight.
The Cedrics.
Cedric the entertainer. Cedric. No, I'm just playing. I'm just
You're a fool.
Cedric McMinn. He's running for
Representative
District 109. And he had a fundraiser tonight at iKrave, the new restaurant in Liberty City off of what?
Yeah.
What is it?
46, 48?
And 7th Avenue, right?
Yeah, 40. Yeah, it's 48, between 48 47. Right by the wash house on 7th.
Yeah.
So
it was a pretty, I wouldn't say pretty good. It was a damn good turnout. And I'm so proud of Cedric. He's over here cleaning up and doing this thing. Maybe he'll hop on the mic and maybe we could get one of the iKrave managers to come over and come talk to us. But Cedric was hitting on a lot of points about his plan for the community that he wants to represent, and we got to make sure we support him.
Yeah, he talked about a few things, mainly around education because, he's worked in education. Hopefully we'll get him to come over here, holler at us for a little minute. But because I want him to kind of speak about it, about the issues and what's going on.
We're going to get his attention at some point. But until Cedric come over here, Munch, do you know anything that happened this week that we need to inform the people about?
The Urban just opened yesterday.
They did. Was that a part of Urban Philanthropies?
Yes.
Wow. So what was that?
It's supposed to be like a new urban land space.
Yeah, with the containers,
the containers,
like Wynwood Yard.
Yeah.
That's
but for vendors, for minority vendors and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's dope. Keon Williams
and Philip Bacon. Huh?
What's Keon's position with Urban Philanthropies?
I don't necessarily know, but I know Philip Bacon is pretty much like this the co-founder, the founder. I think he's like the CEO of that, but the president. I think that's what Keon is, but I don't know. Keon moves and shakes,
Yeah, but we know Keon works for Urban Philanthropies, but he was telling me maybe a month or two ago that they were gonna do this thing that's gonna be like Wynwood Yard.
Yeah,
so I didn't know what it was, and I saw it on Papa Keith's Instagram story, and I was like, "What is this?" I was like, "Is this Urban Philanthropies?" And I was like, upset that I didn't know about it.
No, it's an urban land space. So at least to my knowledge, it's basically containers, but it's for retail. It's for small businesses. Just
retail too?
Yeah.
In restaurants too?
Yeah. So
would it be an entertainment space as well?
They trying
with
to
a stage and a bar and everything?
Yeah, they trying to do the whole nine.
Damn. I cannot wait because that's a little closer than Wynwood, and I like to get off the 95 and get back on. So I'll definitely be there. Are you gonna have all mine's vending space out there?
We working it out right now.
A little razzle dazzle.
Trying to do a launch, so we may be I'm looking at a few different venues. I looked at a few different spaces, but I really want to keep it on this side, on our end. But
on which side of Liberty City?
Just Liberty City, Overtown, somewhere in the hood. You feel me? I don't really want to rock with Wynwood or the beach or going out of my way. Not saying I don't want to be in Miami Gardens, but y'all know majority of my work is really primarily in the city, so it's I want to keep the lounge pretty much primarily closer to that.
But that's what I think you should do. You're from there, you're starting something you should want to be in that area that you're from.
Exactly.
Oh, the man of the hour.
He done slid up in here real quick.
Slid over here. Come on.
We don't stop in 109. We keep it moving forward. Victory.
Oh, we gonna give you the mic.
All right. Thank you, Munch. Thanks, Janae, y'all, brothers, sisters. I appreciate you all so much for supporting our journey. This is Cedric McMinn. I'm a candidate running for State House District 109. District 109 is an open seat. It's held by Rep. Cynthia Stafford, who's an amazing leader in our community. She's done an amazing 8 years, a great job in Tallahassee, fighting for us every single day. And so she has given me the baton, and I'm ready to run with this baton and run to Tallahassee and fight for our community. 109, if you all don't know, District 109 goes from Overtown, Midtown, Wynwood, Allapattah, Brownsville, Liberty City, where we're at right now here at iKrave.
It's a big district.
Opelika, Westview, west of the river, Miami Gardens to the Palmetto Expressway, and then a little sliver of Hialeah. So it's a big deal.
That's urban. The whole.
Cynthia Stafford's seat.
Cynthia Stafford's seat.
And that's why. But see, when she was here, so are you going to continue the legislative town halls that she used to have?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that would be perfect, because I feel like that was something that was important, and like let's blow it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Than what it's been in the past. But I know I went to a few, and I liked when she actually gave that report back. So what are some of the things that you're currently, like, I guess, fighting for? We know you've been in education for a long time. So what are some of those things, like, you specifically going up there for now?
Yeah, like what's
what's your plan?
So my plan is, education, I said, is number one for me. So education is a priority for our community, for our young people, for everybody that wants to get ahead in life. You got to have a strong educational background, a foundation, and that's the key to success. So I believe that if we can properly really fund pop education and not put money into prisons, but actually put money into educating our children, we can have better communities. And so what you see in Tallahassee is a constant erosion of our public school system. I think that we need to make sure that our public schools are funded, as they are trying to fund these other types of schools, which I won't name, and also make sure that our teachers, our educators, our staffs, that goes to our bus drivers, our cafeteria workers, our security, our custodians, they need to get paid better wages. They need to get paid better salaries, because they're the ones that are protecting, caring for, and supporting our children, educating our children. So why shouldn't we give them what the pay that they deserve? So I see myself as an advocate for supporting public education, passing bills. As my first bill is to make sure that we can raise teacher salaries. And so I hope that finally other people will realize that if you don't have our teachers deserving the salary that they deserve, then they're not going to be able to teach and afford to be able to live in this great state of ours. So education, number one for me, but that also ties to making sure we have programs in our community that are educational and beneficial for our kids to be able to foster academic success, but also if they love the arts, if they love technology, if they love sports, they should be able to do those things right here in our community, like other communities have the luxury and the pleasure of doing. And also, let's make sure that our kids that need mentoring, they need internships, they need paid internships to get those opportunities and that experience right there in high school and middle school, even elementary school. Get our kids thinking about what can they do beyond high school. If they may go to college, which is great, go to college, but there's tech colleges in our community. There is training programs, there's skills, there's things you all can do to better your lives. So it's not about stopping education when you graduate high school, but it's what are you going to do to make ends meet, get a good job, and provide for your community. And don't leave and not come back, but come back and be productive members of society. And so that's all I've been about all the years I've been running, been serving our community, because I think it's
Give him the track record.
I've got a calling to serve. Okay, so like I said, born and raised right here in Liberty City, Brown Sub. Grew up here, went to school here. Went to Martin Luther King Primary School, Holmes Elementary, Biscayne Gardens, Lower Park Elementary, Charleston Middle.
Oh, you a city boy?
Yeah, I'm city boy.
I thought you were from Miami Gardens.
No.
Sorry, we all can't be great. We all can't be great. It's okay.
Right here. I said right now we're at iKrave Restaurant on 47th and 7th Avenue. The wash house next door. I used to go to the wash house with my mama. We used to go at 12 midnight, going to wash clothes. I did the whites, and my mom did the colors, and the other my brother and sister did the lights. So I grew up in this community, and back then it was not how it is now. We weren't scared to go out to wash house. We weren't scared to go eat dinner in 9 o'clock at night. But there's been a shift in our community, which we need to get back. That village needs to come back. That village where if you did something wrong, your neighbor's gonna tell your mama, and your daddy and mama. You get home and you got whoopings. You didn't get spanked. You got whoopings. So that village needs to come back. I believe. So I've been. It's a born and raised in the community. Went to school here. Went to FIU. Graduated in 2001.
Hey, I'm a Panther
I worked at FIU for 2 years doing activities for students. Then I also started volunteering for campaigns. So my first foray in national politics was John Kerry's race for president.
Oh, nice.
I volunteered on his campaign because I wanted to make sure we got young people out to vote. So I was at FIU, I was at Miami-Dade, I was at basketball games, Miami Heat games, Dolphins games, out there in the medians, getting people registered to vote with signs, register to vote, register to vote. And so did all that to say that Dr. Bendros Mendengal was hiring a legislative assistant. No idea what the job entailed. Then I applied for the job, I interviewed, got hired 2004, and never looked back since. So I worked for Dr. Bendros Mendengal when she was in the state representative in Tallahassee. I was an aide for 2 sessions. I worked with a lobbying firm to represent cities like Miami Gardens, Opelika.
Oh, wow.
I represented West Park, Pompano Beach, Lauderdale Lakes, the Miami-Dade County school system, the county, the 3 HBCUs, Bethune, Edward Waters College, and Furthermore University. So I have the experience of working in the legislative process, but also working as an advocate with the lobbying firm to lobby for our black cities, our black colleges, universities, and also our black issues in Tallahassee. And so I've done all those things, and also worked for President Barack Obama's campaign. Was probably my most enjoyable, life-learning, career-changing experience I've ever had. Working in 2008 to help elect the first black president, it's just something about that experience that you can never repeat.
I agree. I was a volunteer as well.
You a volunteer? Yeah.
No, man, I was in Arizona getting kicked by old ladies.
Because they were no, we for the other guy.
Yeah, that was from McCain, and that was Arizona.
You were in the,
yeah, and like our voting place was in a senior citizen senior living facility.
Oh wow.
And
the
veterans. It was like a big vet.
You had
veterans.
to stay alive over there.
Yeah. So the reason why I said that is because a lot of people have had a lot of questions in the past of like, how can Ced do what he do? He's behind the scenes. We don't get to see him too much. But I'm like, he's been doing a lot of work. Anytime I've been able to have have a conversation, I always brought like smaller issues, and then they somewhat get dealt with, right? Yeah. So it's like you have to do it over that time. What is
And you don't do things to get glory or to get accolades. You do things because it's the right thing to do. And you do things because you want to serve. And if you serve, people will see what you do. It's not about blowing yourself up, because it's not about me. It's been about the people that I serve. And so that's why I did it. And so people see me behind the scenes, but you say, when there's problems that come across our desk or call in our office, I get it done. So that's when you want somebody to go up to Tallahassee to get things done and bring back results and bring back real change for our community. So, like I said, I've been trained, mentored by Rep. Stafford, Congressman Cedric McMinn. I've worked for President Obama's campaign, Senator Bullard's campaigns. I've done everybody's
talk about your work.
Democratic Party.
Talk about your work. Not to cut you off or anything, but talk about your work that you did with the Miami-Dade Young Democrats.
Okay.
And the work, because I want people to kind of like get the full scope. Like, a lot of these things they say it's new and progressive, but like you were at the foundation of it, even with YPN, with with Young Professional Network. You was the president before before Arnisha was. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Really, I didn't know that.
And before, and you was Young Democrats right before Aaron?
Yeah. So I was president of the Miami-Dade Young Democrats for 2 years. I was actually White Young Democrat of the Year 2 years in a row. What I did was I took an organization that really we didn't have a good organization or good structure. We weren't really getting young people out to go vote. So what I did was I came in, I made it where year-round we were registering voters. So we would go to festivals, rallies, immigration ceremonies, nationalization ceremonies. We would go to town halls, picnics, Optimist games. We would go to clubs. And the things that if the young people are not going to Doral to register to vote or going online, you got to go to the people, you got to go to the young people.
Yes.
So we would go to football games, basketball games at FIU, at UM. I remember one time in 2010 we went to the UM versus FSU football game at Dolphin Stadium, registering young people to vote. That was when we had Kendrick Meek on the ballot and Alex Sink was running for governor, so that was a big important election year. And so I said, I've done this. I've been on the ground registering voters, getting people out to vote, having town hall meetings, making sure our legislators, our elected officials know what the young people are excited about or what their concerns are. That's always been my passion. And another part of that was also giving back. So what I did was not only just registering voters, I made sure that we would go to homeless shelters, feeding the homeless. I made sure that we were going to senior centers, helping out the seniors. I made sure we were cleaning up the beaches, cleaning up our communities. So I always make sure that because we are living in Miami-Dade County, one of the richest counties in the state of Florida, and we have so much to be thankful for. If you can wake up in the morning, you have a bed to sleep in, you have clothes in your back, you have food to eat, you can go and drive your car, you are blessed. So why not be a blessing to others that may not have what you have? So that means going to the homeless shelters. That means, those people that are less fortunate are reading to our young people. We had career days where we had our young YPM, we would go to Charles Drew, for instance, and read out to our kids. And also, we would help pass out we would collect book bags and school supplies for our kids in Charles Drew and give them out. So it's always been for me about not only me doing this, but also how can I empower our young people to step up and lead the change that we want to see in our community. And that's what it should be about. And I know that with this election, and I see a lot of young people that want to run for office, and they're looking at me as like, is he going to do it? Does he have the support? Is he going to be able to make it? Because they see me throughout these years, working. But you say, like I said, I'm ready. Like President Obama always said, you don't pick the time picks you. I believe I have the right experience for the right time to go to Tallahassee to fight for our community. What we need somebody that's going to fight, that's going to be in the front line to make sure that we can work with other people on the other side. But when it comes down to it, if they're not talking about how we can stop violence in our community, about educating our young people, about giving opportunities and getting the good jobs, then we're not doing our job as public servants.
Oh, because you said the key word. And I know Munch and I have been, he's even been on Papa Q show talking about the unfortunate events that's been happening in Liberty City. And I just kind of wanted to get your take on, as a representative, what is it that you can do?
Right.
And what is it that you feel like needs to be done to help curb some of these, the gun violence that's happening within your district?
Okay, so I think that's a great question, because I think a lot of people and I do get a lot of people that when I speak to voters and they don't understand the difference of offices. They think I'm running against the commissioner of the district. I'm like, no, I'm not running against him. I'm not running against her. It's state representative.
It's good that you make those distinctions, right?
Educate people.
I was going to ask you for our podcast because me and Munch want to inform our listeners, like break that down on what a state representative does. But before you do that, like kind of let us know what your vision is on the gun violence and stuff that is happening.
So I definitely think our voting public, and I think young people, everyone that's voting, need to understand what you're voting for, who you're voting for. You got federal elections, you got state, and you got county, which means you got local. So you're voting for a United States Senator in the election this year. You're voting for a governor. You're voting for chief financial officer. You're voting for state legislators, state representatives, state senators. You're voting for county commissioners. You're voting for school board members. You're voting for commissioners in Miami Gardens in this election year. So you have a lot of different municipalities, different entities that are running on the ballot, but you have to make sure that you know who is running. And if the people that are not running, you don't like them, then get a petition and start run yourself. So don't sit back and complain and say, well, I don't like that person. Somebody in the race, I'm sure you can't like everyone 100% of the time, but if there's someone that closely aligns to your ideas and and that you feel can represent you, then support that person. Don't just say, I support him, and then that's it. Go help them knock on the door. Help him or her knock on the door. Go help him or her raise money. Go help him or her make phone calls. We need to be more engaged and more active. If one thing has taught us in 2016 with this clown in the White House is that if we stay home
Trump.
Again,
45.
we're going to have 2 more years of this craziness. This is not normal. This shouldn't be normal what we're seeing in Tallahassee, in Tallahassee and in D.C. And so what I think as a state legislator, what we can do as far as addressing the gun issue is that we need to make sure we have legislators that are going to be serious about stopping guns from coming into our community, which means that banning assault weapons, make sure that we're closing all these loopholes where people can get guns online at these gun shows and not have any background checks. We got to make sure that we can the mental funding is there for mental illnesses and everything. But as far as there's been a concerted attack against those that want to keep our kids and our community safe by a certain organization, which I don't want to name, but they have lobbyists. Yes, they have lobbyists.
You don't have to say it. I'll say it.
Legislators to vote their way. And so we don't see, we have bills like Stand Your Ground, for instance, that are horrible in our community. We have bills that are trying to allow guns in our college campuses, in our churches, in government buildings, because they want people to have the right to have guns everywhere. So those bills that as a legislator we can do to stop those bills is something that I feel that I can do as a legislator to not pass bills like that, and make sure that we're letting people know these bills are going to be up in Tallahassee. Call your legislator, call the governor, say don't pass this bill. We don't want this bill. Whatever you want to do to stop this bill in its tracks. That's what state legislators can do. Other thing that I think needs to be done as far as to curb this violence is we need to get to the root of the problem, which is the guns.
Mm-hmm.
How can we get our guns out of the community? Because you can't understand. Because the thing is that you can't put programs. Like the young man, rest his soul, I have a picture of him that I keep with me. Young man, Mr. Green. He was doing the right things. He was an honor student.
Yeah,
you
he
have
was.
kids that are going to school that are doing
straight
the right
A's
things.
and B's.
A's and B's. By the National Honor Society, I was a National Honor Society member in high school, and yet that couldn't save him from getting shot. So what is the element that is killing our kids? It's the guns. We need to get rid of the guns. If that's with the police, with the state attorney's office, whatever we need to take, they need to get guns off our streets. And if we can find a terrorist overseas, we can find the people that are killing our kids. It's just a matter of, do we have the political will to make sure we're putting action and keeping our families safe? Because these are families that are living in conditions that they have no choice but to live in fear. In a state, in a county that has so much money and can invest resources to build these high rises and build all these things and for sports stadiums, but we can't find a way to build our communities and make sure that our kids are living in a nice, clean neighborhoods, and you can find where illegal guns are being sold or whatever. You can't find those things. There's ways to get these things to take place, to happen in our community, where we can get these guns off our streets. We're just not getting it done.
You think it's funding that's stopping a lot of this stuff from happening, like allocation of funds and
funding
resources?
is a part of it, but I think the major thing is political will is not there, because I think you have a lot of the interests that want to see, I'm just going to be honest, our people killing each other.
Trapping ain't dead.
I feel that there's a concerted effort out there that, he says, oh, they're killing each other, so why do we have to do anything about it? And so there's a system out there, and I hate saying that, because we're trying to tell our kids, to believe that things are going to be better and you're going to work out and the people are for us. But at the end of the day, we got to be for ourselves first and foremost, because other communities are taking care of the communities. If a community is being plagued by gun violence or poverty or roads are not clean, the schools are not clean, those residents of that community will go to the streets. They would go to the commission meetings. They would go to the governor's mansion. They would sit outside and they would demand change.
Yeah.
Where's the community out there going to? But being strategic. Marches are good. Rallies are good. Vigils are good. Town halls are good. But at the end of the day, who are we talking to?
Exactly.
We're talking to each other. We're talking to the choir. And so those that have power are the ones that need to hear from us. The first thing is we got to vote. I keep telling people, if you don't vote, the politicians know who voted for them, who didn't vote for them. So if they'll come to your community when it's election time and give you a chicken dinner, give you a pizza, give you a little bag, or give you something, a little trinket, and say, vote for me, I'm here for you. And once they get in office, you don't see them ever again until another 4 years. And we're accustomed to a cycle where we let these people get away with it. We don't hold them accountable.
Yes.
We don't go to the mayor's office and say, hey, mayor, remember you came to our community and you said that you fed us a nice dinner. It was a good dinner. Thank you. We were fed for that day. But then what are you doing to make sure that we can live in safe environments? Public housing. Why does it look like that? Why do our kids have to go and sit in houses where they have to pass by discussing things, smell things before they go to school? How do they feel when they go to school? They have to look at trash. They have to smell.
I was just about to ask you about that.
You expect them to be able to pass a test?
Yeah, I was just about to ask you about
our people. Do you really care
I know
about
you big on education, so I know that the housing plays a big part of that, and affordable housing for us on this end is across the board.
Right.
I've been telling people, I think affordable housing right now in this election will be probably the equalizer. It'll be that conversation, because you have individuals that are the working poor. Yeah. And they're in Wynwood too. Yeah, they're in Wynwood too.
Yeah,
just like
everywhere.
they'll be on our side. Mm-hmm. And everybody's saying, hey, this is getting excessive. Yeah. So what are some of the things from your standpoint that you will be trying to work on to kind of like remedy or subsidize some of this affordable housing You know, I don't know how it works on the state level,
Well,
but
yeah. So on the state level, you have the thing called the Sadowski Trust Fund. That's a trust fund that's in the Constitution, that's in the state legislature, that you have to fund in order to give affordable housing across the state. What has happened over the years is that they've been raiding the fund to kind of cover up budget holes and deficits in the state legislature, in the state budget. Our only main job as Tallahassee legislator is to pass a budget. And so what has happened is, to pass certain budgets, they start raiding into these funds. So the Sadowski Trust Fund is meant for affordable housing throughout the state. And what has happened is, the folks that are in power have realized that affordable housing doesn't make them money. People that live in affordable housing don't contribute to their campaigns.
No.
Those developers, those
Exactly.
real estate moguls, they're the ones that give millions of dollars to these PACs, to these campaigns, to this certain party, and they can stop bills from being passed. They can raid a trust fund to make sure that they don't have affordable housing, because for them it's a business. People in affordable housing, the rents are so small, they don't make a profit. So why would you give people affordable housing when you can build a high rise in our community, in Midtown or Wynwood or everything, and you can only afford it unless you have a 6-figure salary? And so there's a concern. So that's the thing. You need to have Democrats, elected officials that have a strategy and a plan. You can't go up to Tallahassee, and I've seen this a lot. You can't go to Tallahassee thinking that you're going to go up there and make things happen if you don't have a plan, of a strategy of what you're going to do. So what you need to do is, before a session, you got to figure out what are our major issues in our community. Talk to the community and say, if it's violence, if it's education, if it's affordable housing, if it's healthcare, if it's jobs, what are those issues, and what can we do to address these issues, whether it's passing a bill or putting money into the budget?
If I can, when is session?
Session next year will be in March.
Next year will be in March.
So this year was starting in January.
It was in January this year?
This year, yeah.
So how does that pretty much work? Kind of like lay that out for us, because I think like it's real important. Like people don't know. Like even myself, like I don't know when to go holler at y'all, because I know y'all not there all the time.
Right.
So
they have delegation town hall hearings, public hearings before they go to Tallahassee. Usually it happens in January, February, the year before session, the months before session begins. But then what you do is they have committee meetings in Tallahassee starting after the elections in November. November has the elections. You have a swearing in 2 weeks later. You have a session where they organize all the legislative leaders. They all pick their presidents and the House speakers. And then December, you start meeting in December to discuss bills for March. And so that's why Rep. Stafford was great, because she would always let people know this is coming up, this bill is coming up, these are bills you need to focus on. And I think what needs to happen is we need to have a communication back to our districts to make sure that people know what's going on in Tallahassee.
Exactly.
Tallahassee is very far removed, and I always advocated that. Why don't we have a segment on whether your podcast, whether it's Rodney Baltimore or Miss Tracy or WMEM, have a legislator
that runs it back.
Have someone call in every week and say, this is what's happening in Tallahassee. We need you to call the governor. We need you to call this legislator and say, this bill is good. We want you to pass it, or we want you to put this bill on the agenda, or hey, this bill is bad. Vote against it. Don't let this bill get heard. Because we're not engaging our community when we're in Tallahassee, and what happens is things pass and it's too late to change it. So people have to know before session what happens. So that's why town hall meetings are important, and people attend town hall meetings, because you can't be complaining about things if you don't show up to the meetings. And it's not about showing up when we're giving out turkeys and book bags and toys, but that's
it's
great.
When we coming just for the water.
You can't just come for the water. You got to stay for the meat and the food. You got to be able to come and say, okay, they have Medicaid expansion on the ballot, or they have a bill that's they want to pass. Whatever the issue may be, if it's important to your daily life, and everything is important, because if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And so we need to make sure that we are advocating for what we believe, but we got to make sure we're strategic. We can't just go up there hustling and hooping and hollering, having press conferences, and not making any things happen, not making a change. You got to have a strategy. If it's jobs, if it's healthcare, if it's education, if it's housing, what are we going to do to make sure we fix these problems and all speak with a united voice?
That's one of the main things. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like you made a good point about media, and I feel like it's a really special time right now in South Florida with media outlets. But one thing I do see from whether it's small businesses to community groups and elected officials, either you're very last minute with getting the information or you're not telling us. So I don't know what we personally can do to stay informed with what you're doing in your district, but will you have somebody who is in whenever before committee?
Right.
Send some, even if you give us
something
2 or 3
to us,
weeks.
like it's 2-3 weeks ahead of time. That way we can maneuver, because
I feel like
what happens?
We could be a little bit quicker, maybe a week. But like Jill Tracy or Papa Keith and Ronnie Baltimore, they want to do that stuff, but you gotta give them a little bit of notice.
Yeah, and the thing is, and the reason being is because, and I've always been an advocate for that, right? Because I always see the meeting the day before.
Yeah. And
2 days before. And you like, bruh, I got like shit planned already.
People got
like,
lives. People got jobs. They got family.
Exactly. And I always used to be like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
And I really want to go to this meeting. You know what I mean?
Sometimes it's done on purpose.
Yeah. And I feel that way too, you know?
That's another thing. But if you're transparent, if you're ready for the people, then you'll make sure things get out there in enough time. But
at any given time, we on the email list. So, you know, just make sure we...
I appreciate it.
I just feel like, just to that credit, like, I don't know who your aides are going to be, but definitely make sure you have that stream, because now you have a platform for people who want to give people like you a voice, and just stay engaged with them. They may not be knowing to look for it, but I guarantee you, if you reach out to them, they're going to give you the opportunity, or at least even if it's just a quick shout out, like, hey, this is going on.
Especially when it comes to bills, I would, me personally, I know I would like just an update on bills, like that's coming through, you know, and then stuff like, and then we can have that relationship where, like, if affordable housing is an issue down here, okay, well, what can go in the Sadowski fund? Like, how can we add funds? Because that's my issue. I know that even on the county level, it's about a fund, you know, and this fund goes in there by the acquisition of, like, when they sell off land. So it's like, okay, we got to balance how much land is getting sold off and how much is going in. And to me, I feel like the scales ain't balanced at all. So by the time they sell off the land and everybody can have something, it's only like maybe about 20% of those people, if that's going to really have something. So for me, you know, it's about solutions and how do we do that, you know?
We got to think of, because I think what's working in the past is not working.
Yeah.
Because we're in the same situation. We actually it's getting worse. You know, we're getting killed.
Trump.
Kids killed. We're getting anything, and we got that man in the races in the White
45.
House. And so what we've been doing in the past ain't working. So we got to change our strategy. We got to actually work together. We can't say we love each other and not actually be about loving each other and working together, because our community, we're so divided and we're so fragmented, and it's all about who gets the credit, who gets the. It's like at the end of the day, if you care about the community and the people, you will forego the credit. You forgo, like I said, I don't do things to get accolades or glory, because if I'm doing what God has called me to do, that's all I need to know, is that I'm doing something for somebody else that needed an extra hand that moment, that needed they needed a phone call made to a certain person that I knew that if I can do that phone call, it helped them get better. And I'm going to a restaurant. They need this new restaurant that we're iKrave right now. You know, their new restaurant, they're black-owned, a family business. And I see, you know what? I know people. I'm running for office. I know people that would be great, because they got radio podcasts. They're marketing professionals. They're elected officials, they're attorneys, and they may want to have an event and need a restaurant to have an event at. So it's all about us exposing each other and supporting each other, but really supporting each other, not saying it, but being about it. And what I've seen being in this process, and then whether it's politics, education, legal field, businesses, we don't support each other as we should, as other communities do. Yeah. And that needs to change. Like, we really need to honestly take a look at. We need to have one of those come to Jesus meetings and really figure out what are we doing wrong and what can we do to fix it, and then listen to each other. Don't talk to each other. Don't preach to the choir. Have our young people say, okay, adults, you've been telling us that we're not productive, we're killing each other, but listen, there are some of these young kids that are doing great things and that need guidance and need mentorship, and they want to live in safe communities. They want to do better. They just don't have the opportunity. So why aren't we given an opportunity to have their voices heard? I agree. You see what happened in Parkland? Yeah. You ain't see the parents talking. The kids were talking. Yeah.
And was it some old pastor saying, let me pray and tell y'all the benediction and what God said?
No, it wasn't the politicians. It was the young people saying, we want God
with us,
out the
it's
streets.
the politicians that got to get involved.
Mm-hmm. But we have to know how to listen. We have to know how to listen and then put an action where our mouth and where our words are. And so we try to go to these events and try to be like, we support. But at the end of the day, what are you doing to make sure that things are happening, that are changing for our community for the better? And if you're not there for the community, then why you're in office?
True.
If you forgot who put you there, it's not about the money you raise. It's not about the endorsement you have. It's not about the people that like you. It's about the people in your district that looked up to you and gave you their vote of confidence and said, this person is going to help change my community and my life and my family's life. I'm putting them in office to help represent me. And then you forget about them for 2 or 4 years and then go around the corner and say, hey, vote for me again. And the community looks the same as it did 4 years ago, or worse. What are we doing? It's the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
And so I'm a new face. I mean, I've been around, but I'm a fresh new face.
You have a baby face too.
I'm 40 years old.
He was like he about 15,
yeah,
y'all.
when he said he was 40, I was like, damn.
I was like,
40 years old.
Sid is up there, but damn.
Big 40 this year.
Sid looks like he's all of 22, y'all.
And so I've been groomed, I've been mentored, but it's like I have the right experience at the right time to go to Tallahassee and really fight for what our community really needs, and that's whether it's education, housing, jobs, stopping this violence in our community, whether it's everything that we have been fighting for, and we're losing it because we're letting people run our communities, but we're not holding them accountable. And so what happened in 2016, let's not let it happen. Let's not repeat the same mistake. Let's not stay home and say, and my voting don't matter. It will matter. It will matter. Florida lost. Florida would have gone to somebody else. That person would have won the presidency.
Yeah.
So we got to make sure that everything that we do, at the end of the day, we got to vote. We put them in office, hold them accountable. We hold them accountable, that stay on them. And then if you don't like what they're doing, talk to them, let's work with them, but they still don't do what you need to be doing.
Get them
Get your petitions. I'm going
to say it for you.
Get your petitions, get on the ballot, make some changes.
Yes, sir. I love it.
I'm here.
Thank you. Let the people know how they can follow you and donate, because donation is a big part of it.
So like I said, we need to win this. We need to win this bad, because like I said, this is a critical election. The election's in August, so don't forget, we have primary elections. A lot of people are going to be on the primary ballot. You have county commissioners, school board, judges, which is very important.
And this
judges.
is a closed primary, right?
It's a closed primary. Well, we'll see. In June is qualifying, but August is the primary. August 28th. You got early voting, but you can vote by mail if you don't want to go in the hot sun. If it's too hot, whatever, or it's raining, don't wait till the last minute. You can vote by mail. Call the election department, get your ballot mailed to you. You fill it out, put it in the mailbox, your vote's counted. You got voting early now. You can early vote at about 20 locations in Miami-Dade County, or vote on the election day, August 28th. I need help. I need people to help volunteer, help knock on doors, help meet voters. I need people to help raise some money for me. $1,000 is the limit, but if you don't have $1,000, I'll take $1. I'll take $2. I'll take $5. Every single dollar is going to help, because $1 can help buy a water bottle for a volunteer. $1 can help buy a sandwich, or a meal from.
That means somebody to make that out the back.
A meal, out of the back, out of the trunk.
Candy lady.
Every little bit helps. So I ask you all, go to my website, electcedricmcminn.com. That is electcedricmcminn.com, and go find out more about me, and what I plan to do, or once I'm given your support and your vote on August 28th. And like I said, my name is Cedric McMinn. 28th. I'm hoping, I hope I will be a representative for you in District 109 in the state of Florida. So thank you all very much. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Yeah,
I appreciate
man.
you all so much.
Anytime.
Said no, I rock with him, man.
We want these updates when you get up there. We speak. You going.
Speak it to power.
We got to give a major shout out to iKrave.
Yes, iKrave.
Thank you, iKrave, for letting us stay a little longer too.
They hosted us. You guys got to come. 4799 Northwest 7th Avenue. They open Sunday. They close on Mondays, but come after church on Sundays. Come for brunch. They have great prices. The food is amazing. The service is great. And so please, let's support our businesses. Making sure, hear me again, we need to support our businesses. Don't talk and complain that we have business in our community if you don't come support them. So make sure you support our businesses,
3 times.
Support our people,
about 10.
come here,
I love their food.
Enjoy the food, and have a great time.
I'm going to get the chicken
Shout
and
out
waffle
to
next time.
iKrave, what's your IG?
iKrave,
_iKrave. That's crave with a K, not a C.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Seth.
Vote.
_iKrave on Instagram. You guys follow him.
Yeah, man. iKrave, man. I had to count the mac and cheese and the collard greens. Today,
You got the last bit of collard greens. I was mad. I wanted some.
Man, not today. I ain't had. Hey, I had fries today.
The flop.
You had the flop? Yeah, I ain't get no flop. Yeah, I'm full. That's why I was a little slump earlier, because, I had the itis. You know what I'm saying?
Just right now. We're going to have to help them put the chairs up. We're going to have to put our IG in the comments. But Much, take us out. What we saying tonight?
Shit, I got the itis. Fuck it. Let's get the fuck up out of here. We got to hurry the fuck up and get up out of here.
Good night, y'all.
Before we going to be washing dishes, too.
Good night.